Hey guys, welcome back. Frank here with Makeshift Frank. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be making a homemade spot welder. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over a transformer out of a microwave and how I rewound it to make it low voltage and high amperage. Also, the spot welding device itself I didn't make, I got off Amazon. I'll link a link in the description. Please be aware that as an Amazon associate, I do earn from qualified purchases. Hey, real quick, I want to remind everyone that if you like these videos or if I've helped you to help me, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Hey, don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss any of the videos I post. All right, guys, let's get to it. All right, guys, so first thing up is a little spot welding device I got off Amazon. All right, now it looks like it's made in China. Now it's in this little box. Got an Allen wrench for tightening the screws, and this is the device itself. Okay, now this isn't nothing great. This is no high-end super spot welding machine. This is just a little handheld clamping spot welding mechanism. Okay, it's just, to me, it's just a toy for me to play with, or, you know, a tool for light use. This isn't really a product review. This is me showing the spot welding machine I built. Now, you could easily make one of these. You could make a bigger one of these, and maybe I'll do that one day, but what I'm really doing is just showing how I hook this up to my transformer and going over the transformer. All right, so this is just an epoxy body. It's got aluminum and it's got copper electrodes. And the way this works is you hook your electrodes off your spot welder to these two screws, and you put your piece in here and you clamp it like that. No big deal. All right, now let's talk about the rest of the stuff. This is what powers the spot welder. This began life originally as a transformer in a microwave. So what I did was I took an old microwave and I salvaged this transformer out of it. Now, you know, please be aware that can be very dangerous. And transformers on their own are high voltage. They can be deadly. I wouldn't recommend anybody using a transformer in its high voltage form. Now, what I've done with this transformer is, if you see here, I've replaced the high voltage coils. This is no longer a high voltage device. This is a low voltage device. So what I did was I took a hacksaw and I cut the high voltage coils out, or the secondary coils out, and I rewound the coil. All I used was jumper cables. This has about 5 turns on it. And this, I've replaced the end of this jumper cable with these vice grips. And what I have in the ends of these is carbon rods from a heavy duty lantern battery. I've actually used this to weld small pieces. If you look at one of my previous videos, my homemade scroll saw, there's a part on there that I used this to weld that piece together. I'll link a video in the description. All right, guys, so let me just show you how good this works. I'm just going to take this old screw. I'm going to clamp it in between my two clamps, and I'll plug it in, and I'll just let you see how hot it gets. You see that? It completely burned the screw in two. So I'm sure this thing's going to get hot enough to be a spot welder. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to do is take the ends of these cables off. So now we're going to take our 2 leads and attach them to this device. This lead I had to make. I had to cut the 1 lead off, so I just made this out of a copper pipe. There. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it'll get the job done. And you don't have to worry about this. This can't shock you. This is no more dangerous than a car battery. Now, your terminals back here, where, you know, the mains outlet, the mains power, where it gets its power from the wall, you have to make sure these are all covered. If you touch this, of course, it would shock you. That's why this is all wire nutted And I've got these connections so it can't touch you there. Now what we need to do is make a way to control the power to this while we're holding it. So what I've got here is a few things that I scavenged from the same microwave that this transformer came out of. I've got a momentary switch. I'm not sure the technical name for these, but these little wire connectors, you slide them on here and it allows power. It gets connection and it's safe. It has these rubber sleeves that protect it. All right, so what we've got to do is take this hot wire and connect it to this and connect this to this. First we'll strip our wires, remove the wire nut. Now I've got my wire strippers here. We're going to strip the ends with these wires. Okay, now we're going to just twist these wires together and black tape them so they're safe. Here's this one. Here's this one. There's one connection. Here's our other. There. Now we can just connect our connections to our momentary switch. We'll slide these sleeves back, get them out of the way, and we'll attach them to our switch. Sometimes these can be a little hard to work with. You've just got to keep working with it till you get it. There, see? Now they're both slid back. Now we can stick them to here, clamp them on there, slide the sleeve back up. But before we do that, we're going to find a way to attach it to this. We want it to go right about here. All right, guys, so let me show you what I'm thinking about doing. I want it to be right around here. Now this has two holes in it. Now I've got some screws like this, little bolts and nuts. These holes in the switch isn't quite big enough for this. Now I believe I can drill these holes out just a little bit so these screws will go through. Then what I can do is drill holes in this piece and anchor it right to it. Let's do that. So I've got my digital calipers here, and we'll measure how big the screw is, and then we'll find the right size drill bit for it. Okay, it's 3.52. That's just about right. It's a 9/64. And if it's not big enough, we'll go up another size. Now, I'm not too worried about damaging this switch. If it doesn't work and it breaks it, I've got two other ones just like it. It came from the same microwave. All right, so now let's get our drill press out and drill these holes out. All right, now I've got this little piece of wood on here for support. That way it'll hold this switch flat. I think that'll work. I think we can get that through there. Okay, so the next step is we want to mark our holes to drill this out so we can bolt this to it. I'll take this transfer punch and mark the holes. Then I'll drill this out on the drill press. Now let's drill this out on a drill press. Okay, that was a bad spot for it. I hit that spring. Let's move it down. Try it again. There, now we have our holes, and we should be able to bolt our switch to this. Okay, so first let's try to get our screws in this. All right. Now let's see if we can get our screws in this. Now these screw holes are a little bit undersized, but this is like epoxy, and you know, this is made out of aluminum, so I kind of thought it would be okay. Try to force these screws through it. It might not be. I guess we'll find out. It seems to work, but of course my screw's bent. It would probably help to have a straight screw, and I believe I need a better bit. So let's try a different bit. That might be better. All right. It's working. Maybe if I add a little lubrication to it. Let's try that. It's going, but it's a pretty tight fit. I probably should have made the hole one size bigger. Arms are getting tired. All right, it's through. Let's put our nut on. All right, guys, so we got this one on. Now all we gotta do is put this other screw in, and we should be good to go. I broke it. Jeez, well, that's unfortunate. All right, I went ahead and drilled a new one. I'm gonna try to put it on. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but a drill would probably be faster. Good measure. Let's go ahead and scrape it up, put a little super glue on it just to help it hold on there. Seems to work good. We got our hot. We need to splice it into this. These cords actually aren't long enough. I want them to be at least as long as this. So I'm gonna splice another piece onto these to make them a little longer. Okay, so now we'll just splice these two wires onto our wires with these clips on them. Okay, now what we're gonna do is tap into this hot wire. Now we can take our two leads, we can put them on here, on our switch. There, we squeeze that tight so it won't come off. And then we'll slide our cover up over it. Now we'll do our next one. There. So now all that's left to do is to attach our ground to our device. You don't want to have it ungrounded. Okay, we're just going to wrap it around this screw. Now it's important, this transformer is dipped in enamel, so you want to grind off that enamel where you go to ground it at. There. Now it's grounded. Okay. You want to make sure all your wires are clamped down some sort of way like this, because you don't want this turning and twisting and messing your connections up. So always make sure everything's clamped down. I'm just using a gutter strapping. You don't want it so tight that it cuts into your wire. You just want it snug enough to where when you move this, it doesn't move it on this end. See, like that. Now we're also going to want to clamp these down. Okay, we're also going to put a roll of tape periodically throughout these wires so they're, just so it helps keep them together, so they're not all over the place. Okay, we're going to bundle these little wires up like this, so we can take another piece of gutter strapping, strap it down right here, so that way when we move this, it doesn't mess up these connections and it doesn't rip this raw. Okay, the only other thing we need to do safety-wise is wrap this up with black tape, because you can see where this connection is bent down into the switch. You can't completely cover it with this sleeve, and so if you touch that, it could shock you. So what we're going to do is put a layer of tape around it. There. And now that should be safe. There's nowhere you can touch. You squeeze it, click it. You should only have power running through it when you hit the switch. Now I'm going to wrap a few rolls of tape down these wires so they're not just all over the place, to help hold them together. All right, guys, our spot welder's ready to go. All the connections are covered. You hit it, power turns on to the transformer. It's good to go. Now let's try it out and see how it works. Point of safety, this is no longer high voltage, but I would still not recommend anyone, don't touch this while it's running. Even though this isn't high voltage, it's still connected to mains power. So don't touch it. Don't touch it while it's plugged in. Also, this is like a light duty machine that I made. You can't run this continuously. Eventually it'll get hot. So, you know, one here, one there. Let it keep cool. Keep it cool. Don't run it forever. Don't run it for an hour. Okay, so this momentary switch is backwards from what I thought. You don't push it to turn it on. You push it to turn it off. When you let go, it turns on. Can you hear? Can you hear it humming? That's fine. Let's try it out and see how it works. So I've got this piece of gutter strapping here. I'm going to try to weld it together. That's amazing. Okay, here we go. I'd say it worked pretty good. Still a little hot. Let's try to tear it apart pliers and see if we can get it apart. Yeah. That's pretty good. I can break it apart, but it's not easy. All right, well, it can be broke apart, but I think it works pretty good. All right, guys, so that about wraps it up for today. Hey, remember, if you like these videos or if I've helped you to help me, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss any of the videos I post. Remember, always be careful and always stay safe. See ya.